All right. So today we're going to be going over how to solo Temple of Polybius on Nightmare. This map is decently challenging to learn. Um, Once you get the hang of it, you can get it down pretty consistently. Um, Not much of a reason to solo this map other than uh, not having all the characters quite where they need to be for groups, though if you can solo this map, you probably can do groups. Um, but too, if you just want to solo farm some mischief makers and Kraken cannons too. This is a pretty easy way to do it. So as far as characters go, um, we're going to be using Countess for Gauntlet and for the Assault. And we will be using a DPS monk to kill the Kraken and open the starting door for us. So for Kraken, just a little wizard and a honey spear works totally fine. That's all you need. As for the weapon that you want to get a Disaster Rapier from Tropics of Etheria. It doesn't need to be an ult ++1. It doesn't need to have 94,000 damage. 60,000 damage should be plenty good enough. Especially if you can get some that actually has positive hero damage. Also for the Assault, you have choice of 3 pets. You can use an Etherean Ancient, or an Owl pet. If you are on the lower end of a Disaster Rapier, these guys will help keep you alive, as well as just dealing a bunch of damage to the enemies and pushing them away. You get an Etherean Ancient from Crystal Cave Survival. You can get a Owl from Arcane Library, or you can get Mr. Peckers from Tropics of Etheria Survival. And Tropics of Etheria is where you farm a Disaster Rapier. And then for Gauntlet, or if you have a good Disaster Rapier like me, you don't need either of these. You can just use your Cupid. This is a pretty decent Cupid, but you can use a Cupid like this too, where it has lower damage and no hero health. Too. For my first solo run that I completed, I used this Cupid, and then farmed up a better one. So pretty simple. It's here to keep us alive. Once we reach under 50% HP, it will just shoot us. So we'll pretty much always be at 50 HP, especially during Assault, and then during Gauntlet, just gonna help keep us alive. Propeller Cat is here for Kraken. When we get to Kraken, we're gonna be killing him with our monk. So we put the cat on our Countess, and then call to arms and just have our Countess sit there to give us some damage reduction and some extra damage. As for my stats, this is what I'm working with. On my Countess, I have majority of my points in hero health to stay alive, and then some in hero damage. You don't need to be this high up. For stats, you can do this with lower. Aim for at least 2,500 health though is kind of the one thing that's important. As for monk, you also don't need to be this high. Ideally, you'd have a little wizard or some pet that can deal with Kraken that actually has hero boost on it and just makes it go down faster. For the tower defense section, here's my Eevee. Here's my auras. My adept. And then we are going to be using an empowering shrine. So at 2,700, the empowering shrine gives us a 26% damage boost. And then here's my tower booster. And you don't need to be this high. I'd say at least have your adept at 6k though. It'll just make life easier, but you don't need to have 7k range at all. So yeah, that's about it for everything you need and kind of the intro for it. So let's get into the run, and I'll do some commentary over it to kind of explain some choke points and some things to look out for, so that way you don't die. But it is a very learning map. This map is definitely a skill check. You can do it with low stats if you have the skill. Having higher stats just makes it a little bit easier and a little more forgiving, which is part of the reason why I have so much health, just to make it a little bit more forgiving. But yeah, hope you enjoy. Alright, let's at the start of the run here. Move our monk. Shoot this top diamond. Get those going. Sit him here, and we're done with him for assault. As we kill some mobs, activate our call to arms. And over here. Here you want to start running kind of from up here, since you can get brought down and cause some problems, like you dying or just getting flung off the map, and you'd probably just want to restart. Grab that core. Move up here. I'm going to turn off my call to arms here so we can have enough mana to build. Alright, drop mana. Up over to auras, we're going to do a strength drain and ensnare. And run over here. Gets our monk to teleport. And we're just going to plop down strength drain aura. If you don't have quite as much health as my my monk and countess do, what you can do is you can also put a healing aura down over here. Here where the Kraken will spawn. We don't need a buff beam over here, but you will have to forego using an empowering shrine. Here. Alright. Do 3 DSTs, 1 north, south, and 1 to the east. 3 LTs. And then we'll move over to our Guardian. And we will place an empowering shrine. Place it right there. And that is the build complete. Now with our tower booster, we're going to stand up on the sledge. And then we will move our monk over to where this core is. And we'll just set him right here. Then we're going to start the wave. Have our monk there to help deal with all of the ogres and harbingers that are going to be coming, especially later on in the wave. Just generate some insurance, so gotta make sure that monk does not die, because otherwise very high probability that you will lose. And keeping him alive typically isn't a big issue. Run around and collect some mana too for hero boost for later on. Until you see on the east side and the north side of the map And even on the southeast side, there's a lot of mobs that tend to get stuck. So that's another reason why we want our DPS monk to be around. So at the end of the wave, when all the ogres and harbingers are done spawning, we can just run and get those stuck mobs down. Okay, we are almost done. Just a few more mobs that we gotta make sure are dead before we move away from this core. Like basically everything got itself unstuck from the east and southeast. Every now and then they won't unstick themselves and you will have to run over there and kill them. Yeah, we're just gonna take this bottom path here and get these guys down. With a little wizard, doesn't take too long. This little wizard's only 52k as well, so if you have a higher damage one, makes things a tad easier. Okay, so what we do now is we move our monk all the way over here, where we built this strength drain. Upgrade that. Our tower booster and hop back onto our countess. And grab our cat. And we run over and start the wave on the way. So you do want to have your monk a little bit further up. Here. We're going to get 3 dots and a question mark. And on the next 3 dots, activate our call to arms. Then we start shooting. This is a little risky of a spot to be in, but let's see, got him down pretty nice and easy. Cool, so now we can get rid of that monk, we don't need him anymore. Swap back over to our Cupid. Hop onto a summoner. Some mana. You can do this part on a gun witch too, but summoner is safer. Because if you die when trying to do this jump on a gun witch, there goes the run. And I messed that jump up. There we go. Typically just glide up the wall, but I guess sometimes you don't. Place an orc here, and now we are on Gauntlet. For Gauntlet, if you play without damage numbers, I do highly recommend turning them on. Eventually, you do get a lot of screen clutter. It's helpful to know if you're hitting stuff. First wave here, be a Goblin Mech, a Demon Lord, Spider Queen, and a Kraken. And we're going to deal with them in that order, ideally. You can kill the Demon Lord or the Mech first, doesn't matter. Just make sure you are paying attention to the Spider Queen, because if you get webbed, you're probably going to die. One reason why we use a Disaster Rapier. Get far away and still be able to damage things. Yeah, mix down. Goes Demon Lord, and now we do Spider Queen. Also be very careful to not stand in fire. Spider Queen's down. For Kraken, you have to be a little tricky with it, since our Disaster Rapier cannot damage them from the front. See all the zeros. So we either have to have our Cupid do it, or we gotta try and get behind him. Kinda like this. Start swinging at him. Give it our call to arms for some more damage. Once you get his tentacles down, his main body is pretty easy to kill. It's down. And there it goes. Now I just have a giant turkey. Giant turkey will spawn smaller turkeys, so just be a little careful of that. If you need to, when he does that attack, don't jump over it. It'll send you flying, and it will let you heal. So your Goblin Cupid, your Cupid won't have anything to shoot at. Flying, and every now and then there won't be anything over to be able to heal you. Yeah, so and see you shooting at me. So it's an easy way to get some healing in. You will have to drop call to arms at least once during the fight. When your call to arms is down, you do have to be more careful, because you do not have the damage reduction anymore. He goes down pretty quick. You can get faster times, but you're just going for completion. There's no need to rush. You need to back off. Feel free to back away from him. You have plenty of time. Okay, so he's dead. So now we have the 4 heroes. We want to deal with the apprentice first. The apprentice can charge up a mana bomb, and if you get mana bombed, you die. So apprentice is #1 priority, and then you like to deal with the barbarian. It's also why, see, here he's mana bombing, at least getting ready to. He's in a very, very, very bad spot for us. So here, we're just gonna really have to kind of hug him. Go for it. He charges up for about a minute. So, yeah, there you can see we almost died. But once he starts charging, he has to become your #1 priority. Then you can kill the barbarian or the squire. Whichever one you're not damaging will heal itself, so you can see barbarian's back up to full health. Yeah, he hits very, very hard, so definitely be careful. Try not to get hawked, because that will be very, very bad. Probably can, definitely can instantly kill you. Yep. And as always, if you need to, just run away so you can heal up a little bit. Let's see, we got stuck there. That's why I like having higher health. Okay, now that he's dead, after he dies, you kind of have the option of who you want to kill. It doesn't matter. Here, we're gonna drop call to arms. Save it for Poly. Huntress is down. Now we fight the arcade machine. So we're gonna run around and destroy these electrical pillars. Or you can charge into him with maybe 2. Just makes him take a little bit more damage. Right around 4, I'm having 40 million health. I like to drop my call to arms. Just so we have the ability to get the most possible uptime on the Mischief fight. And the Mischief fight is why I highly recommend you have damage numbers on, because you won't be able to see a thing. Cool. Down. I can kind of chill and heal for a minute. With Mischief, you do want to be careful of standing in the middle, because he will spawn a Harbinger that will kill you. And eventually he will start spawning ogres. And he loves to hide behind them, so just something to watch out for. He heals for 250,000 health every second, which is negated by your pet hitting him once. But still something to watch out for. Ideally, you can literally just hug him and he'll melee you. That is like the most ideal thing that can happen. Is you just hug him and he starts beating on you. You can charge into him too. That'll speed up your clears. See, that joust did a lot of damage to him for basically free. So that's best case scenario. You won't be able to get that to happen every single time, but you see he's already almost dead. Sometimes he teleports himself and gets stuck. And there we go. Temple of Polybius solo. And we got ultimate gear piece. Dang, that's rough. This is probably going on my Triptress. Yeah. See? Pretty easy. It's a solo PB for me, but yeah, you're looking at about I average typically around 19-20 minutes per run. So yeah, it's pretty nice and pretty easy. Definitely take some practice. You're probably not going to clear it on your first run. But once you get it down once, you can get it down pretty consistently. So, if you want to see any videos on specifically how to farm for things like the Disaster Rapier and a Lover's Cupid, and then the owls and stuff, let me know in the comments, because I can certainly do that. But I hope this video you found helpful and informative. If I got any information incorrect, please correct me so that people can see it. Yeah. Have a good one.